Yo, good looks to dreadsock.com for sponsoring this episode of Real Notes. Anyone who has curly or locked hair like me knows how sacred a good hair wrap is. A do-rag, a wave cap, a scarf, a bandana, a bonnet, you name it. Dreadsock goes a step beyond the average with silk-based head wraps that offer full protection and frizz control for curls from 2A to 4C. They're made of a blend of breathable materials to help retain hair's moisture and preserve hairstyles enough to ensure a few less trips to the salon, all held down with an elastic band strong enough to withstand even the most aggressive head trips. Whether you wear one to bed or wear one on the go, Dreadsock will have you looking fresh and full. Socks come in all sizes, from shorties for short hair and beginner twists to extra large for the longer locked folks out there. Look, y'all, I've been growing my locks for nearly 2 decades and have been a loyal Dreadsock customer for 15 years. So when I tell you these shits work, I'm dead ass. Plus, they're an independent, black-owned business that's worth the time and energy. So go to dreadsock.com and use promo code CineMasai, that's CineMasai, for 10% off your first order. They won't fall off in your sleep, but they will keep you looking fresh. Thanks again to Dreadsock for sponsoring the episode. Now let's keep this shit moving. What's good, y'all? My name is Dylan Green, and this is Real Notes, a space dedicated to blurring the cultural and artistic lines between rap and film. I'm here to chop it up with everyone from rappers and producers to journalists and video directors about their relationship to movies and how, if at all, film inspires their craft. My guest this week is Atlanta rapper, producer, director, and founder of Awful Records, Father. We spoke about From, Swordfish, The Incredible Mr. Limpet, Dogma, Comedy Central movies, bad dreadlock wigs, the origins of Awful Records, how he creates like a film director, using AI to augment the Oxenfree video, and the creative process behind his last 2 projects, Young Hot Ebony 2 and Husband 2. Come fuck with us. What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to Real Notes. It's officially summer. It's been hot as shit the last the last week. My fucking my AC broke for a day. I'm still not over it. Everything's good. Everything's fine though. We're here. We're thriving. Everyone's tan. I'm not complaining. My name's Dylan Green, CineMasai. Got a lot of names. Do a lot of shit. Be around. And I'm with somebody today who also is around and has been around and does a lot of things. And I'm just trying to even think where to start. Fucking rapper, producer, founder of Awful Records, Foot Locker commercial maker, all types of shit. We got Father in the house today. I'm like, I kind of can't believe I'm saying that, but yeah, we got Father here. You know, Husband 2's out. It's been out for like a week and change, maybe 2 weeks at this point. No, a week, right?
A week, yeah.
Yeah.
I dropped 20.
Got you. Okay, yeah. Nah, so right. But man, thank you. Yeah, no, I was telling you off camera, but thank you so much for being here. Like, I've been a fan for years, and it means a lot to have you here. So thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel like there's been so much going on over the course of the last like 4 or 5 years, not even just with you, but with all of Awful and, you know, like all the projects you've been working on. And it's so funny. I just met Archibald Slim for the first time in person. We'd known each other for a little while. I think we met maybe like a couple months ago. Yeah. And
yeah. Where about?
Jeff Weiss threw his thing at in Brooklyn, and we were there. I've written about him a couple times, and I've been a fan of his for a while too. So it was nice to like link and connect and all that good shit.
For sure.
Yeah. But yeah, let me ask you the first question I ask everybody who comes on here. Okay. What was the last movie or TV show you watched that you had a strong opinion about?
Strong opinion.
Yeah, good or bad, it doesn't matter.
I've been watching From. Well, I mean, it's finished now, but I was watching From on I watched it on Prime Video, but I think it's on another station, like MGM or some shit. I can't remember exactly, but I've been watching From on Prime. You know what, Buddy from Claws, and then he was in like The Best Man, and then he was in The Matrix, of the Dreads. Forget his name. I never know his name, but I know everything he's in.
I haven't started it yet, but I've heard a lot about it. I hear it's pretty scary. I hear children get mauled in it.
Yeah,
But
it's a lot of like heinous murder from freakish monsters in the forest type situation. Um, it started off so strong, and this past season has been fucking losing me, man. Like I don't
damn,
know,
how, how many seasons in is it?
two like first a good
Oh,
strong first season, and then the second season they started dragging their fucking feet. My God,
man.
like such a good show, and a good lead, like a good lead character, and it's like I don't know. Second season they got I won't say they got lazy or anything, but whoever brought on to do the writing, that shit was bullshit, lollygagging.
Damn, that's boof. What so like what do you feel is like the biggest difference between the first and second season in terms of quality? Because like I mean I haven't seen it, but like more often than not I'm like a journey over the destination type of person. So like even if it's spoilers, like like I just
Yeah, of
appreciate the
course.
journey there, you know.
I'm the same way. I get spoiled for me all the time. I'm still gonna watch it, and but I guess all right. I guess you don't really know in the first season. It's scary as shit. You don't know really what's going on. Going into the second season, they take the entire season, drawn the hell out, and they never really still explain what was going on in the first place, and then they add on even more shit that's unexplainable. It's very remember what was it's kind of like Lost was. Remember Lost?
Oh damn. Okay.
All right, it's kind of like Lost
Yeah.
in terms of like they're stuck somewhere. They have no idea how to get out. They don't know what's going on there. What's and then they throw in all these different leads, kind of be like, this might be what's happening. This might be what's happening, and then they never explain not a single fuck. In the 2 seasons so far, they haven't explained anything, and then more shit is coming in the second season to kill them, and they haven't even explained where the first things came from, and it's just. And they're dragging it too. It's like it's like sometimes some of the episodes are like, oh yeah, they're getting bring the murder, baby, let's go. We back killing again, and then it's like two, three episodes of just nothing. Them building up. They have the worst. I don't know why I even like watching this show because they have the worst cliffhangers I've ever seen. Like the episodes just end real flat. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like they're building to a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
It's like it cut. I don't know what it is. It's they stop at the wrong part of the nut. I don't know. I'm not sure.
That's real. That's real. Nah, I get it.
It's like they're like built like it's like the nut is about to start and they just start cliffhanger. And it's like they don't get you to like mid. They don't get you midway to bust it. It's just like it's the beginning of the build and then it's like it's like
Damn, that's so cold. I don't like that.
But it's good.
That's
It's like a good show. It's a good show, but it's I don't know. Something is just written slightly bad about it.
damn. So like that sounds like I'm trying to even think of what I want to say to that. It's just like you're invested clearly and like that's cool. But like you're invested and I feel like they're kind of stringing you on because you're invested. And
Exactly.
I hate it when TV because like like
because
they build up
time.
right like you build up the trust and the confidence in the first season, and like there's a difference between like experimenting and being cool and kind of like tweaking shit to make it better and more interesting, and then just being like, here's a whole bunch of things that you don't understand and we're not going to explain it properly and make it engaging, and it's just like bam, like okay, it's over now. That's just like that. Like just hearing that makes me depressed, honestly.
And we're in an era of television where you might not get that next season. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not sure if they got renewed or not. I believe they did, but either way, it's like there's a small chance that if you lose us, that then we'll never get to know what happened. This like the end of this second season did kind of like it made one of the points, like in the first one, it was kind of like one of the things was like you just gotta die. You know what I'm saying? So one of the people was going crazy and shit. They were just like, you just gotta die. You just die. We all just kill each other. Kill ourselves and shit. We'll be back in the real world. And they kind of I'll say anything else, but come the second season, that's one of the kind of the threads that they show like maybe that is in fact the truth. So that's like, but that's the only thing. Nothing else made any sense beyond that to me, honestly. But
and it's and you know, like it really is a difference between shit. Just like it's a difference between like a well-told story keeping you in the dark until it's time for you to know, versus like we have no idea what we're doing. We're just gonna write this episode to episode, and just like it's just gonna happen how it does. Like,
that's what it feels like sometimes. It's like they're themselves going episode to episode. Like, should we tell them now? No, it's not telling them yet. It's not telling them yet. I don't know. I'm tuned. If there's a third season, I'm still tuned in. Fuck it, because I care where the homie from The Best Man is gonna end up. I want to know what happens.
So what's his hair look like? Does he still got locks or not?
Nah, it's a fucked up fro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cause now that we're on the subject, I just saw the Bob Marley trailer yesterday for the biopic, and bro's obviously. What'd you say? I
saw some pics from that. Yeah.
Yeah. So like that's obviously a wig.
For sure.
And like the guy and like homie from The Matrix and The Best Man, I've been like,
oh yeah, you guys were terrible too.
I
remember that.
Yo, I've been thinking about this for the last 18 hours. Like, all lock wigs look bad. All of them look bad. They all look bad. To me
because like most of the niggas in hip hop and shit, they dreads be fake too, but it look real.
Right.
It was like, why can't y'all get that in the movie magic? I don't get it. Like motherfuckers dye they shit blonde, and then you see them next week and the shit be back black and perfect, like and back like it look. So it's like, we know what they doing, like, man, like it's simple as hell, but you know what it is. It's like, the movie studios and shit, they're not aware of how that shit works. They probably just throwing these shitty ass wigs on them.
Right. Yeah. No, niggas aren't willing to fucking like put lace fronts in the budget.
Yeah.
And like plugs and shit. It's just not worth it to people, I guess. Cause like, you look at that and like, I mean, like the first thing that came to mind for me was fucking, goddamn, Shamar Moore and fucking Diary of a Mad Black Woman with the fucking slick backs. Oh my, like,
yeah.
Why would you send someone out the house like that? I just don't even know, man.
Or Terrence Howard, when Terrence Howard had them fake ass dreads.
Empire.
Yeah, Empire. Boy. I mean, it's so easy. All they gotta do is like, just have them grow out a little mini fro, and then you could just sew them shits in. It's so simple.
Like, come on. I don't. It's like it's basic math. I mean, like you and I have great looking hair, so like we're always gonna judge it a little bit. But like, that's just it just because like, yeah, it just makes me sad. It just makes me sad.
We know natural, man.
Yeah. So shit. Let's run this movie shit all the way back with you, Father. What's the first movie experience you can remember having? It could be at the theater, it could be at your cousin's house. Like the first thing that comes to mind.
Going to see Swordfish when I first moved.
Wow.
All right, yeah. I went to the Magic Johnson Theater when my family first moved from Mississippi to Georgia. I don't know why that just sticks out. I can't remember any movie experience before this one, any theater experience. I don't know why. Specifically, because the theater little, but I don't remember none of that shit. I don't remember anything until I was like, I feel like I was probably like 11, 10 around this time. Whenever Swordfish came out, what, like 2000?
2000, 2001, something like that.
Yeah. When Swordfish came out, we went to the Magic Johnson Theater, and then 2001. Yeah, that was right after we moved to Georgia, and we went as a family to see that. You get Halle Berry's titties and all that, all that shit. And him getting, what was he getting? He was. They had, all right, you gotta hack this shit while getting top.
Yeah,
you gotta hack while getting top from Shawty. I just remember that shit being so hard when I was younger, and then leaving the theater and being like, I have no idea what any of that was. And then for years being like, I love Swordfish, and then still not knowing what any of that movie is about besides Halle Berry titties and the man getting top while trying to hack into a computer.
Yeah.
Swordfish is probably my first movie theater memory.
Damn. So first off, that's a crazy family. That's a crazy family movie event to see.
Yeah,
Who
yeah.
who all was there? Who'd you see the movie with?
Me, my mom, and my stepdad.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's like a wow. I shit.
Yeah,
It's
bringing
crazy
down
because
to Swordfish is also like why?
no, that's OD. But yo, I think the first time I saw Swordfish I might have been in middle school because I saw it on DVD. And
Okay.
it was at my homie Steve's crib. Shout out to Steve if he's listening. Because like he had the movie, and the only thing I remember about it to this day is Halle Berry's titties when she's out
Yeah.
poolside tanning. Like that was yeah, that was a moment for me. Like that
Yeah.
like that stuck out, and that was also the first non-Wolverine role I'd ever seen Hugh Jackman in before. Like, because like I only knew him as Wolverine.
I don't
So,
even think
like,
I even. I don't think I realized who Hugh Jackman was when I first seen that movie.
right. Because I was like a little older, so I had already seen at least the first two X-Men movies since then, and I was like, oh shit, Wolverine's in this, like, but
yeah, because when the first X-Men came out, and
that was 2000 or maybe 99. I could be wrong, but
I'm about to look right now because I was like, was that was before or after? Okay, it was right before. Okay, that was 2000. You're right. Yeah.
Damn.
Then I should have known. Maybe I just didn't realize as a child. I don't know.
Nah, you know, it's all good. But so have you seen it since? Like when was the last time you watched Swordfish?
Yeah. Oh man, I feel like I have seen it after that because I like to get more of an understanding. I can't remember though. I did watch. I feel like it came on something. It was on streaming somewhere, and I ran it back. But I can't say when. I can't honestly say when. I need to watch it again now so I can get what the fuck the plot was. Didn't they yank a bank vault out or something? And they were flying that shit over like Los Angeles. Yeah, I really can't recall. And then he, it's something with he wanted to see his kids. I remember that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea. It's just like little blurs in my brain, honestly, at this point.
Damn, and I'm just now realizing one of the reasons I wanted to watch the movie was because I thought someone was gonna turn into a swordfish, and I think by like the end of the movie I was like, "Where's the swordfish?" and like some stupid shit like that. Yeah, I can't remember.
I also still have no idea why the fuck it's called Swordfish.
Like,
could have been like a hacking program.
They probably explained it in the movie and everything. Like, I just like there was this it's what was the movie with the white dude who turns into a fish and like goes fights and like
you talking about where he went to that guy's house and then he slowly turned him to a whale?
No. That's
okay.
You're thinking of Tusk. That's the movie where he turns into like a walrus, right? Yeah, no, I'm thinking of something. Shit. It was this movie with it was a live action animated hybrid with it might have been the actor Don Knotts. It might have been called like The Talented Mr. Ripley or something like that. The movie must have been from like the 50s or the 60s. He's like the stereotypical like nerdy white dude from all those types of movies. And then
The Incredible Mr. Limpet.
There it is, Mr. Limpet. Yeah, Talented Mr. Ripley is a completely different movie.
So I was like, wait, what? Ripley? No, I've never seen it before.
So yeah, like he gets turned into an animated fish, and then he goes and fights Nazis. That's what the whole movie's about. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. But like, I was thinking that Swordfish is gonna be something like that, and it was like not that at all.
Hell no.
Yeah, no, I think that's one I've been meaning to go back and rewatch too, because I saw it like I found it in like a bargain DVD bin at some store when I was younger, and I was like, this looks weird as fuck. I want to watch this, and it like
it might. I don't think it's one of the ones I would have picked up, but
I was a weird kid. So
I remember, buddy. I'm looking at it now. I remember the actor.
Damn, man. I doubt it.
Yeah,
I doubt it.
Yeah, he look old as shit here.
What year? What year the movie came out?
60. 64.
Okay, sounds about right.
64, and Buddy was old as hell right there. So I doubt he's still with us.
Yeah, no, I think he lived a long time, but he
not. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he lived a long time too, but I think he's dead. He's dead.
Yeah. 2006. He gone.
R.I.P. Don Knotts.
R.I.P. Don Knotts.
Jesus. So growing up as like as you get a little older, was there do you remember the first time you saw a movie that really kind of like stopped you in your tracks and really like spoke to you in a way that was more than just like 90 minutes of entertainment? Like not even so much in like an artful way, but just like a movie that really just like touched your soul on some like this is movie making type shit, like capital M movie.
All right, like this is a like big cinematic, like wow, like, or just like I'm thoroughly entertained.
Either one, honestly, because they're both valid.
Yeah. I'm gonna say probably Dogma.
Ooh.
I'm gonna say Dogma. Cause I remember I've never watched it on anything else, but it used to come on Comedy Central like several times. Like every other week, Dogma would come on, and I would watch it every fucking. I don't know why it was so good to me, but like I don't know. Like I always love stories where kind of things that are kind of like grounded in reality, but biblical in nature a little bit. Like them run into all of these different angels and people that would be normally just, and then just being like really like, oh, looking for God. And God's on earth. Like God got beat the fuck up.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I was like, God, sometimes, God just steps down to earth and be chilling and kicking it. But somebody caught that nigga and and it turned out it was Shawty. It was It was Shawty. I can't remember her name.
Me either. It's been so long since I've seen Dogma, but Dogma's a great movie.
It doesn't come on anything anymore. But somebody told me it's on YouTube, so I might run it back.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah, I might run that. Yeah, like how like Salma Hayek was Serendipity. Then you had Alan Rickman. It was so fun. That one definitely was one of those early ones as a kid where I was like, this is cinema. Like this is amazing.
Yeah, fucking Chris Rock was one of the angels too, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, and because one of the things I always pull is like when they first meet the shit demon and he just yells like a shit demon, like just in his fucking Chris Rock voice.
But it was Alanis Morissette, God.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
No, that was
like
that was one of those ones from when I was younger. Every time it came on, I'd watch that shit. Isn't Jesus the thumbs up Jesus? Like, I mean,
yeah, just like
yeah, no, great movie, bro. That's one of those. Is that a Silent Bobber? Was that a Silent Bobber?
Yeah.
Smith, yeah, bro.
Yeah. That might have been one of the if it wasn't the first. It might have actually been the first Kevin Smith movie I ever saw, because I think I saw that at another friend's crib, and then I saw Clerks and Mallrats in college. So I
think it's the same for me too. I saw Dogma first, and then later on I saw Clerks 2 before I actually saw the first Clerks. Yeah.
Damn. Oh man, now that we're talking about Clerks 2, I wish I liked Clerks 2 more. Like as a movie in general, it wasn't that great to me. But like the ending where they go back and buy the Quick Stop, and then it goes back to black and white, and it like that's still one of my favorite closings to a movie ever. They like that like damn near made the whole movie worth it to me. I was like, wow, it hit right there in all the good spots. Yeah. But yeah, man, fucking Dogma is just like, now that I think about it, Dogma might have been one of the first movies of that kind I'd ever seen. That was like that was like a comedy that like really dug into like religion in that way, and like it really did help me. Like, not to say I didn't understand it before, because like I had gone to church as a kid. I stopped going to church maybe like 4 or 5 years before that. But like seeing someone kind of take the piss out of it in that way was tight.
What? Now that you say that, it makes sense why it's on nothing. They probably got that shit the fuck out of there early on. They were like,
I'm sure,
like,
bro.
we don't need people watching this shit. Like, the church is no particular about getting fun of. So it kind of makes sense why that shit's only on YouTube. It was a great movie, and that shit was. Well, I mean, a lot of those early Comedy Central movies I noticed aren't really on anything anymore. Like Hebrew Hammer, you remember that shit? Like Hebrew Hammer, and like
not the Hebrew Hammer. Jesus.
Yeah, I used to watch. I guess that's another thing that kind of digs at religion a little bit. Maybe that's why it's not anywhere. But a lot of those early, because I used to love that. That's kind of what I grew up on, like Comedy Central movies.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I got kind of like a lot of my initial, watch time in watching film and shit like that.
Right. Yeah. Not like those. Just like stuff like, so like stuff like Dogma and stuff like the Hebrew Hammer and stuff like Down to Earth. You ever see Down to Earth before?
What's that about? What's Down to Earth about?
Oh, it's about am I thinking of the right movie? Like all I remember
I feel like I know what.
Like
I know what movie you're about to talk about. Is it Down to Earth?
I'm pretty sure it's Down to Earth. I'm a look it up real quick and just make sure I'm. Is that
the Chris Brown? Is that Chris Brown? I'm not Chris Brown. Chris Rock. Is that Chris Rock?
It might be, but if not, I'm thinking. Let me see. Yeah, no. Yes. Yeah, no. Down to Earth is the Chris Rock.
He goes into the white man's body, right?
Yep, yes, exactly.
Yes, that's another one. I love that movie.
Yeah. No,
Down to. I'm tripping.
Chris Rock was kind of like the king of those fucking like Comedy Central movies at that time, like stuff like that, and right. Head of State. Like Head of State was a movie I loved as a kid.
I think I Love My Wife. Like,
I Think I Love My Wife. I remember seeing the trailer for that. Yo,
that shit had me when I was younger. I was like, oh my god, I'm in love with her.
Son, those were grown man problems that we did not have at that time.
I fully felt versed in it. I was like, hell yeah, like,
oh man,
fuck your wife. Like, go get with the fun bitch. Smoking cigarettes in the office. Like, that sounds weird as hell.
Oh my god, yeah, because it was that was Gina Torres and Kerry Washington, right?
Yeah.
Oh, what a time, man! That was a remake of this French movie from the 70s. I don't remember what it's called, but like I looked it up when I was watching the trailer, and it was like, this is based on da 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 from whatever 1973, and like I'd never heard of the movie, of course, but like it was like that was my first time being exposed to that story, and it was great, and like there was a man. Sorry, I'm rambling right now, but like I'm really stuck on this shit. There's a scene at the end where he's about to go sleep with Kerry Washington, and he like has his tie over his head, but like he had the tie up when he would like play with his kid, and he was like looking himself in the mirror while he had that in his on his head, and he's just like, man, I'm about to go fuck somebody who's not my wife, but like all I could think about is my kids. It was just like, once again, like grown men problems we could not relate to at that time. Like,
yeah, I get it. I don't even know if I can go back and watch that because I'd be like, damn, that's real life right there.
Yeah, that's hardcore. That's hardcore. I might find it again. We'll see. But yeah, that's just hardcore shit. But around this time, when did music become capital M music for you? Like, when did it become more than just like background noise and like stuff that you actively invested in?
I can't remember the exact moment, but I know where I was living. So I was in middle school? I'm trying to remember. I think I was like I would have been back. Ninth grade? Kind of late for me. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of late. I didn't really start to get into like super into music until I was my first like memories of like, oh, this is something I love. It's not something that plays on TV Like, because most and before that, it was like, oh, this is on VH1. You know, this like the hits of VH1, MTV, and all that type of shit. Or this is what my mom plays in the car on the radio. But the first time I just sat at a computer and was like, I just find out everything about this genre and everything involved, like spider webbing off into different things was after I had really got into Midnight Club 2.
Ooh. Oh, the soundtrack from Midnight Club 2 was crazy.
Soundtrack from Midnight Club 2 pretty much was the grounding of like my personal interest in music. So a lot of like dance music and techno and house, and I kind of like got on the internet and I was like, what is this? You know, really into Felix the House Cat and shit like that. So I'm like, what is this? And then I found a site that's like, this is how this spider webs into a million other genres, and I would just go through every genre and then listen to all the little micro genres within all of electronica and techno and shit. And that was kind of like the beginnings of things. And then that kind of, as I got older and shit, because I wasn't even really, I listened to hip hop and shit like that when I was younger, of course, but not I wouldn't say like by choice. It was just around me,
Right.
Black. So, this is the culture, you know what I'm saying? You're part of it. But it was never truly a by choice thing. I didn't go out and buy CDs like that. I did own like, I had, my NERD CD, I had like Gorillaz CD. Those are kind of like the only CDs that I personally owned myself. At that time, like all of us loved that music. But they're like the internet, getting into like internet music and shit like that, I would start getting into from there, like MySpace remixes and mashups. Yeah. From around that time period, kind of even like how like a lot of like young people now, teens and shit, how they're getting into music is through mashups on TikTok. Shit that just does not go together at all.
Right.
Like,
and now it does. Yeah, exactly.
It really don't work. It kind of clashes, but it sounds so fire in your head. I don't know what it is, but I was listening to similar shit when I was younger. It'd be like hip hop mashups with crazy electronic music. I'm like, this is so fire, and then that kind of got me more into rap. Because at first I was really into like fucking, it was like jazz hop and conscious hip hop and shit like that. That was the first things that I got into. And then throughout my formative high school years, I would get more into mainstream rap. Then I found Lil Wayne and I was like, holy shit, I've been kind of asleep. It was like one of those nerd awakenings where it's like, I've been a dweeb for no reason. Like, this is hard as fuck. I was like, Lil Wayne is hard as fuck. This shit is so tight. And then going into like college, and then me just completely broadening my perspective of rap. And then that's kind of around for me around the time of Two Dope Boys, the early Drake, the early Kendrick Lamar when he was just K-Dot. And that's kind of my groundings of rap. And then I went back and got super into 90s hip hop. That's when I like because then I heard what happened was I started listening to like Big L and fucking Wu-Tang, and I heard Cuban Links for the first time, like my freshman year or my after my freshman year. Yeah, after my freshman year of college, I heard Cuban Links, and then that's when I'll be driving around and like during the summer and be like, man, fuck school, fuck school. In my head, I was like, I can do this, and then I started writing. So I'd be in my job like all day, just like writing rap during the summertime after hearing Cuban Links for the first time.
Right, man, fucking like Guillotine off Cuban Links is like, I think the first time I ever heard that they used it in an episode of the Boondocks. It was the one with the first one with Stinkmeaner and the dream when Huey's the fucking swordsman and they're fighting. Like, that's the first time I'd ever heard Guillotine, and I was like, yeah, like this is my whole personality, like forever now.
Like, it became my personality. Like that album became my personality that whole entire summer. Bro.
Like that shit, like cause I'm trying to think about like I had a similar but not 100% the same experience because I was like locked in with rap from the time I was 9. Like from like middle school up until early high school, I was like heavy into crunk. I was heavy into like everything Lil Jon was doing, everything fucking just like all the fucking like ringtone shit, like snap music, like Soulja Boy's popping at this time. Like, but then I found Nas and A Tribe Called Quest and Doom, and I just that was it. I was like the snobbiest dude on planet Earth for like those 4 years, and then like I wasn't super tapped in with the Wayne Carter 3 era because I was so like, oh, that's not the shit. I was like,
Yeah,
I was young old head type shit. It was so silly, and then I get to college, I hear a lot of mashups. Like Girl Talk's popping at that time, so like he had that
too. Yeah,
son, like that one album. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like the cover's like blue and white, and it's got like a skeleton on it. And there was this one mashup of a Ludacris song with that one Phoenix song that everyone knows, and like that shit was my everything. Like I used to listen to that all the time just because. But like but like I had like my 90s hip hop deep dive in high school, and then I started to like broaden and expand because like I started out expansive, and then I got super duper insular, and then I expanded again, and it just kind of like it was just kind of like up and down, and now I'm here. It's a like especially because like the internet was just starting to really like people were really starting to use the internet for real at that time. So we were kind of like the guinea pigs for like figuring out how to turn that type of interest in music into like a thing to do on the internet. And of course, like the blog era, and it was crazy interesting. But it's just nice to be able to confide in somebody else who was unabashedly into mashups. So yeah, solidarity.
Yeah,
honestly.
No, man, that shit was fire. Like it helped me branch out, honestly. Like hearing, sometimes you got to hear certain things in a different light to really get into it, to learn it and shit like that. People that are so opposed to hip hop music and rap in general, and if they just heard it over the sort of, they say, people aren't talking about shit, but put that over the production, that style that you like, and you'd be like, oh, this is so, introspective and shit. Like, it completely changes. They hear hip hop drums and 808s and things like that, and it's like, this is stupid. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is intellectual music, and it's like, take what this person's saying and put it over this bullshit that you like, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna turn around like automatically.
Right. I can't tell you how many people, like the first time I heard Jay Electronica's Act 1, because like that whole thing's done over the score for John Bryan's Eternal Sunshine. Like there are people who I knew who I knew were not jacking rap like that, and then they listen to that and they're like, oh, this is different. Like, fuck out of here, son. It's a great project. Like, don't get me wrong. But like,
it was special. He put shit together is so crazy. Like even the recent shit, like I was like, nigga, how does your brain think to put these words together like this? Like, amazing rapper.
Jay Elec's special. He's amazing. Yeah. But like, like I don't know. I just always noticed that coming up because like I went to a PWI, so I was around a lot of white people. But like, it was like I would just start to notice them gravitating towards certain kinds of rap music and certain kinds of like, that's just how it is, But it's just always interesting to see that shit play out in real time. Like especially like this is like Odd Future time too. So like they have like a huge white fan base, and like just watching that and just it's just really, really interesting shit to me. I don't know.
Right.
Like we lived it, so it's it's just weird to think back on it now.
The presentation changes everything.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, hindsight's always 2020.
Exactly.
But before we move on to Awful, was there a period of time when you consciously realized that like music and movies were like, where like music and movies are two things that complement one another? Like just like how a song can enhance a movie, or how an image can enhance the sound. Like, type shit.
Yeah,
I hope I explained that
absolutely.
right.
Yeah. No, I mean that was like pretty much like when I was kind of on the outs of college. You know, before I just completely dipped out, I was studying film. You know, but I was in class kind of like half in, half out. I was doing other shit. I was running around the city, like just throwing parties, shooting videos, and just helping the homies get their music off the ground and shit. And during that time period, me looking at the content that they were making and like other people around the city were making, I'm just like, it's not it. It was like it was like, can y'all make this look like a movie? I want everything to look like I was automatically like, make this look like, because a lot of people understand it now, and they understand like what lens to use, what camera to use to get that cinematic film quality. But back then, especially during the coming off the cusp of the era and shit like that, nobody really was doing that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like doing like just kind of off the, like making real life feel like cinematic instead of just you shooting with the little handy cam or some shit like that. So that was my whole take on it during the time period. I was like, can we make the crew make all of our shit feel like, like we're watching, like you're watching something live action. But I don't know. I guess that's kind of like why the initial music videos for Awful, people were like, oh, this feels like, they used to be like, it feels like watching Gummo or some shit, like, or Kids. And I'm like, I ain't never watched that shit, but I'm like, I guess I get it. You know what I'm saying? Kind of, it's real gritty. We're living kind of like shitty, but it looked cinematic quality. Just because I was like, automatically, I was like, how can I get this look for the lowest price? So I grabbed a 50 millimeter. You know what I'm saying? That was like the first, like, I got a camera. The homie, the homie jugged like 2 cameras, off Amazon. He finessed 2 of them. And I was like, get the 50 millimeter. It's gonna, like, trust me. So he gets the 50, and then we automatically started shooting like movie type shit. And it looked pristine. But I was like, because that's like the even the off logo, which is the eye and the mouth. During that time period, before I came up with the name, it was the original name of Awful was like sight and sound.
Yeah,
I believe is what I call it. It was gonna be like sight and sound production or some shit like that. Sight and sound for just my because I had a focus in both worlds, whereas a lot of my friends were just on the music side.
right. Damn. Wow. I didn't realize that, but you saying that makes sense, because I mean, like, this is the obvious choice, but like you look at like the Look at Wrist video, and like the Look at Wrist video, like it looks fantastic. That's one of the first things I remember about watching the video. I'm like, this is like really high quality. Like, not to say that like other people like weren't making shit that look good, but like, like, like I was looking at the frame rate and I was like, it feels like I'm watching a movie, and it's just like y'all on the couch.
I was so big on that too. It would piss me off so much when motherfuckers would shoot and then upload their videos in like 60 frames a second. I'm like, why are you doing that? I was like that looks so, and like nobody can see that. Like, people can't understand or see that. And like people would, like, a lot of rap videos, if you look at old rap videos from that time period before even knew what the fuck they were doing, they'd be uploaded in like 60. And I'm just like, no, drop that down to like at least, I do like 24, because that looks most film like to me. So I do 24, but at least 30. Most people be uploading some shit because they like people shoot in 60. They can capture slow mo at the same time, but they don't drop it back down. I was making a huge deal back then, even amongst crew, because sometimes crew just go off and shoot shit and shoot their own videos, and I wouldn't be monitoring or making sure they're doing the shit how I want it to look on the channel. And shit would go up. I'm just like, bro, why does this look like this? Why did you do that? Why, and like, I was very particular back then about like, no, please get the frame rate right so it don't look crazy as shit on TV. You know what I'm saying? Because I was so adamant about that.
Did you have like music video influences? Like, or were you like a Hype Williams kid, or like was there one specific person?
Yeah.
Like, I want my
Early on, very much Hype Williams, like Hype Williams, like old fucking Pharrell videos and shit like that. Like, I did at a time early on, I wanted it to look like that. I think I even did a video with the white borders and shit, like the classic white Hype Williams borders. Initially, that's how I wanted stuff to look, like real, like, oh, like we in Miami, we got the white borders.
Yeah,
You know, like,
exactly.
that was my definitely my initial influence starting out.
That's
I feel like
crazy.
he bridges that gap early on too.
You talking about Pharrell or Hype Williams?
Hype Williams,
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
and like
Yeah, no,
really grounded but film like music videos.
yeah. I've been watching quite a few of them recently, just because like he was just on my mind, and just like, like I remember when the video for Griselda's Dr. Birds came out, and I watched
Yeah,
it, and I was like, this is the first time I've seen a Hype Williams video, and I don't even know how long, and
yeah,
just like it's like to consider how much of an icon he is. Like Busta's Give Me Some More video is one of my favorite like pieces of visual media ever created. Like
right.
that, like just like the fisheye lens, and like just everything so
Yeah.
stylized, and a little demon running around the house with the mom. Like, ugh, like
I've been
I just
wanting like that so bad. Just need the I don't know. It's hard to now want to put the budget into things when you don't know how well they'll be received. It's not
right.
like back in the day where you could just throw money at some things. Like, you throw money at it and it's gonna get the plays because you threw money at it. But now it's like it's not that easy necessarily. So,
Right.
because with shit like that, you gotta build sets, need the right camera work. Like, really, it's that set building is everything. That's why I
Right.
kind of like
Yeah.
now
No.
I've been playing with the AI for videos recently to try and get that quality that I necessarily can't get building a set. Because I've been wanting more fantastical, just looking things. But I'm like, I don't have the bread. I mean, I wouldn't even if I had the bread to do it, I wouldn't want to put up all that bread to make some shit look like Lord of the Rings.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like, but I've been kind of bridging that gap that I want using AI. That's what I did for the recent video for Oxenfree.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. No, I was gonna ask because I wasn't sure, but
Yeah.
but yeah. Like, how did that happen? Because like I haven't really been tapped in with like how AI could be used for like videos. But like, how did
Yeah.
how did that happen? Walk me through it.
So it's all green screen.
Yeah.
Um, I just kind of was very particular about, like, I knew, like, what does well is the fact that I'm in costume. So it's like it looks super immersive. It looks like, okay, this guy is really he's really somewhere, some fucking nuclear silo underground or some shit like that. But all of that generated via Midjourney. Like,
Yeah.
and no part of those scenes are real. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Nah. Yeah. Because I saw it right before we hopped on, and I was just like this, like, it looked like a green screen, but I didn't like it looked like different than I'm used to from like green screen work. So I was just like, how
Yeah.
did how
Yeah.
did that happen? Yeah.
Yeah, nah. It's all the power of Midjourney AI. But it came out good because at first when because when I had the idea like a couple of weeks ago, I was like, all right, I can make some real crazy fantasy scenes. So can I make this work in video form? And then I was giving it a shot. I'm like, as long as I can figure out how to like match lighting to fit the scene, I was like, it should work. And luckily it came out, because I was skeptical first too. I was like, I don't know. And I feel like it's like a good showcase of using AI in a way that's like you're not, because a lot of the hangups I feel like have been, oh, you're just using this to steal people's art, and because
Yeah.
you steal art, steal black art, step over musicians, that type of shit. And it's like, nah, there's applications where this is okay to use. I'm not out here trying to make Drake songs and all that other weird shit niggas is doing. But I'm
Right.
just trying to enhance my art in a way that's not mooching off of somebody else.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, and there's definitely ways to do that. It's just like a really difficult tightrope to walk that a lot of people don't even just feel like
Right.
walking. Like the easier thing to do would just be to like make something that's just like, like a perfect example, the Marvel Secret Invasion shit, where like the
Oh
whole
yeah,
intro is like all like that, like they try
bro. What
like
is
they tried to
that?
fucking talk it down. They tried to talk it down as like, oh, like we just did it because like that's the nature of it. Like, no, like that
Bro,
like
no,
that shit is so corny to
no.
me. I
It
hated
looked
that.
like
Like,
shit. It looked like And then it's like it looks like shit. There's ways to.
Right,
I'm like
exactly.
even then, it's like if y'all really gave a fuck, that would have made it look good at least. Like people might not have been as pissed if it didn't look like shit too. Like it looked like AI shit. Like it
Right.
looks like
Yeah,
garbage
nah.
AI.
Right.
Like
And you know, like
even
your
show.
video doesn't look like that. Like
Yeah, no. Like no, it's like weird warbly warping shit that looks like shit in a sewer, just swishing around and forming stuff. And it's like this looks garbage. Like and the
yeah.
faces look like I don't know, man. Like that was such like I'm saying that was a horrible application of it. And people, of course, are going to be pissed. You hired some guys to then hire robots.
Right. Like,
You
come on now.
didn't implement any kind of like I don't know. Like you gotta. I feel like to make it okay, you need to guide it by hand. At least
Right.
involves put some kind of real. Like how I did. Oh, I generated a background. It's realism as well, so it's like it's not stealing an art style. But yeah, I don't know. Like that just it looks bad. So that's also annoys some people about stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. It's just it just makes my skin crawl too.
Yeah.
But
I
shit.
skip that every time. Every episode. Like I don't want to see that garbage. Like
Hell no. I haven't even started it yet. Not because of that. I just haven't at the time.
Good. Yeah, it's good.
I hear it's cool. I just haven't had the I actually just saw I just saw Guardians 3 last night, finally.
I want to see it so bad.
On it. I loved it. It was great. It's my favorite one of these since Endgame. Like it's good.
Has it come to streaming yet?
Not yet.
No.
Like soon though, because there were only like 2 times I saw it at the theater, and
so it's about to be out of there.
Yeah, it was a decent amount of people in the theater too. I was like kind of surprised. It's like it's been out for 2 months, and like
man,
people were still showing up.
I went to go see Ant-Man. Like when it came out, my theater, boy, I went in there. I was the only nigga in there.
Damn.
A couple came in towards the start of it. So it was like 2 other people came in and sat somewhere else. But it was like a random night. I feel like it was a weekend. It might have been like Sunday. I don't know. But I went like at night on a Sunday, like 10 o'clock. Not so. Theater was dead as shit.
Damn. So, I mean, like Sunday night at 10 o'clock. I guess that makes some kind of sense.
Yeah.
But like, but either way, like that's like it's yeah.
One. I haven't experienced that shit. Maybe since I was younger, I was sneaking to a random theater, showing in the middle of the day, in the middle of the week type shit. But
right.
I'm like, bro, ain't nobody in this bitch.
Yeah, no, that shit is weird. It's like that happened because like because like I do a lot of like midweek movies too, and like more often than not, like especially if it's like I saw this joint called Sanctuary, must have been like a month ago at this point, really really wild, crazy, like it's a like. Long story short, it's a movie about like a dominatrix and a client who are like having an argument over the course of a movie in a hotel room. And it's crazy. Everyone should see it. I loved it. But like I was maybe one of 9 or 10 people in the theater. And mind you, this is like a Tuesday night, and as I was and maybe like 10 minutes left, I hear a noise in the back of the theater. I turn around. There's a couple fucking in the back of the theater, bro. I swear to God, there was a couple fucking in the back of the theater.
I didn't even know niggas still did that.
People still do it, bro. Like the movie kind of ends super abruptly and the credits start. So I get up to leave, and I'm thinking like, oh, I need to see what's happening here. So like as I'm walking to go out the exit, I look up and they're in like the corner, and like I see them. Shorty's on his lap, and I'm just like, "Yep, I'm out of here." Like, they had no idea that movie was about to end.
That's crazy, fam. They got aren't there cameras in theaters? Like, people don't give a fuck no more. Honestly, like the theater be so like that should be so dead. Nobody be paying attention no more. I definitely like when I went to go see, the new Ant-Man and shit. It was like 2 kids in there just doing everything. It was like one kid just in session scan, one kid walking around scanning shit. Actually, what had happened, they left the lights on for like nobody came to turn the lights off when the movie came
Oh
on.
shit!
So I'm just sitting
Wow.
there like, I'm like, bruh. So I walk out and have to go find somebody. Like, hey, can you turn the lights off? It's bright as shit. I can't even see the screen. So it's like, yeah, theater is, you know, they need fewer and fewer of them shits because it's still dying.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
Cause like
Yeah.
I saw the new Spider-Man like the day it came out because I reviewed the soundtrack for Pitchfork, and I mean I also wanted to see it myself because I
Yeah.
like, to me, Into the Spider-Verse is like the best Spider-Man movie, maybe the best superhero movie ever made. It's fucking incredible. But
That shit
like,
is-
yeah, no. So I was gonna pull up day one anyway. But like, I'm sitting in the theater. Theater's packed. You know, like everyone's there to see it because it's that type of movie. But like, I'm sitting next to this kid who he couldn't have been older than like 10, 11, 12 years old. This motherfucker was on his phone watching TikToks the whole movie with no headphones in. He was just watching TikToks while a movie is happening in front of his face. You know, like I never want to sound like the old dude ever. Like, I don't give a fuck about that shit. But that was the first time I'd ever seen someone like, it's a difference between like scrolling your timeline and like watching TikToks while the video's happening.
That's
like, yo.
It is like
I
thought, you know, you think they'd enjoy that shit. Like,
right. Like, everybody
crazy.
loves Spider-Man. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
that was a lot to me.
Yeah. Nah, man. Nah. I would have had, I don't know. I might have been like, hey, little nigga, put that shit up. Like, bro, I would have been pissed. I would have been fucking pissed, bro. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Where your family
I
at?
was yeah. It was like four of them, and I think he might have been like the oldest. I don't think they had an adult with them. Like, it was just like these four kids.
They probably sent the kids off into the theater and went to go see something that they wanted to go see.
Probably, yeah. You know, it is what it is. But
Yeah.
like, that was cause bro, I'm a huge proponent of the movie theater. I go to the movies all the time. I got the fucking AMC stubs, A-list shit. Like,
Yeah.
I do all of that. Like, that's me. So like, you know, like the theaters are more crowded now than they were, you know, like last year and shit. But like, you know, it's definitely not what it was before, and I just
because
hope
you could go see a matinee before and there'd be people there, but you go to a matinee now, you the only motherfucker in there.
Right, which is cool because, you know, like, having a movie theater to yourself is underrated experience, honestly.
Yeah,
like,
can't complain. No, it's not.
Yeah.
You really can't complain about it. It is fire. But
right,
shit,
but either way, it's just like, I don't know. Like, I love the experience of like watching. I don't know what it is about watching a movie with strangers in the dark, but like, that shit hits. I don't know what it is, but like,
I agree. I fully agree.
It's just like watching. Well, I don't want to spoil anything that happened in Guardians, but like, there's Guardians is like, it gets real sad. There's quite a bit of animal violence in it because one of the characters is like a dude who tests on animals, so they really go into that.
I haven't seen anything, but I noticed that.
It's crazy, but I was like sobbing, like in the mid, like near the end of the movie, and like doing that by myself, it just wouldn't have felt the same. Like, I need, like, I need to be surrounded by like 16 awkward people just like in seats to be able to like, yeah, just it was just a good experience. I enjoyed that more watching it in the theater surrounded by strangers than I would have enjoyed it sitting in my bed watching it on my TV. You know,
right.
The first time, at least.
I'm gonna say the same thing about, like, you know, watching the last Spider-Man joint. So even that and the fucking one with all, you know, like, you know, the fan service shit with all the Peters and all, like, you know,
No Way Home.
Crowd, you need the crowd reaction for a lot of that to really fully kind of feel immersed in it. Because, you know, I tried to watch it again at home, didn't care. You know what I'm saying? Didn't give as much of a fuck as I did in the theater, being like, oh shit, like, fuck, you know, it's a completely different experience.
Right,
and that shit does require a crowd.
Absolutely. And one last thing before we move on, I saw The Blackening the day before it came out, and I was maybe one of, well, at first I was the only nigga in the theater, like, and like, not even just like the only person, like the only nigga in the theater, but obviously more came, and, you know, I'm watching the movie, and you know, like there weren't as many people in the theater that needed to be there. So I feel like I enjoyed it less than I would have if I was there with like, if I had seen it with like the homies, like it would have been great, you know.
Right.
But like as it was, I was like, this was it was fine, you know. Like I wish I'd liked it more, honestly,
Oh, okay, so
because I want more stuff like that to get made and put in theaters. But like I watched it and I was like, this is cool. Like it's fine.
that might be one of the ones I'm gonna have to wait on. My brother wanted to go see it. He was like, "It's yeah, I heard it was good." And I was like, "Yeah, I heard it was good." But it doesn't it doesn't have that draw, that thing that makes you like, "Oh, I want to see this loud and big," you know. Even though I'm pretty sure it was loud and big, but it also felt
Yeah,
like I can watch this on Prime, you know.
right.
Yeah,
That's like that's like you have a bunch of your people over for a movie night, like you're putting that on, you know, like that's
yeah.
the type of movie it is, you know. But damn, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Oh, right. So fucking Awful Records.
Yeah.
um you know, like y'all started it in 2011. And of course, you know, like like looking back on it now, you know, it served as home for some of the most like fun, like left field rap music that was happening like at that time, you know. And of course, like y'all were like an incubating spot for people who've, you know, for people who've like gone on to do amazing things like fucking Zach and Tommy Genesis and Playboy Cardi and Key. You know, I could sit here and list names all day for the people that y'all really like shepherded in
Right.
that way. But like, what did you know, like that's like such a, you know, like the legacy of Awful is something that I've really been thinking about a lot over the last couple of days. So like, what did you initially have in mind for the label when you founded it in
Sunday,
2011?
Sunday, Sunday. Sorry, my son is over here blowing raspberries.
No, you're good.
Sunday. He's in like iPad zone. Is it coming through a lot? Can you hear that? Oh no, okay, cool. All right, just give me the end of that question one more time.
Yeah. No. What was your initial vision like for Awful when you first founded the label?
Um, at the time, I guess I wasn't, I was a lot younger, and it was kind of just, it was real freeform back then. It was kind of, I guess I was really influenced by like Wu-Tang at the time.
Yeah.
I was kind of felt like I was gonna be in my RZA shit and just gathering all the skilled homies, like, like we're going on a war and shit. It's like, you good at this, you good at that. I try to keep as versatile as possible, making sure nobody really like, because while we all kind of gelled, none of us were exactly the same in any way, shape, or form. We were all pretty much self-contained individuals. Anybody could go off and go do what they needed to do without requiring help of anyone else. Everybody knew for the most part how to record themselves, shoot a video, find their own producers or produce themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And just kind of wanted to have a real free form collective like that. Like I never intended for it to be a kind of normal structured record label, which is, I think, why when we kind of tried to conform it to that, it just didn't work,
Right.
It didn't really work like that, because initially it was just like, we are this, doesn't matter if it's on paperwork or not, this is what we are. And you know what I'm saying? And then I just had a big thing then about like, I don't want to make money off a thing that I did not work on, directly, even if it is under the title of this thing that I own and all that type of shit. It was more familial, I guess.
Right. That's real noble. Like like you don't that's not something that I feel like I would hear from almost anybody else. Like the fact that you were like, I don't want to make money off this thing I didn't work on. Like like that's such a that's just such a concept. I don't know. Like you just wouldn't hear anybody else say that. So that really, like, that shows me that you give a shit in a way.
About
like,
20%, everything you do here on, like, what I'm saying? Yeah, nah. Yeah, I wasn't into that. Because, you know what I'm saying? Like, people love you when things are going well, but then say something goes wrong, it's your fault. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
Yeah.
just leave everyone to their devices, I feel like. And either way, it strengthens, everybody being able to be free and do what they want strengthens the entire collective, regardless.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Regardless,
Exactly. And
this ghost entity doesn't need to make money off all of its components if it's just being empowered anyway.
right. Yeah. Nah. And like that's the thing. Like everyone's music that was happening over the course of like the second half of the 2010s, like after Look at Risk blew up, and even before that. But just like it's like I just think about like hearing what Abra was doing at the time, and hearing what Archie was doing at the time, and just like the shit that Zach had going on, and just like like I was always just like so intrigued that like like it had always felt loose, but not in a way where it's like, oh, they have no identity. It was like, oh, like they're loose because they're all so different and they're willing to embrace how different they are. And it's just like it all just kind of like it felt the most, because like collectives were like a really big thing back then between Odd Future, Pro Era, fucking
Right.
I'm not gonna list names, but like just like y'all felt like the loosest, and most together it's kind of hard to put it into words, but like there
Definitely
was
the most
definitely like
versatile, I think.
like yeah, no, I would agree with that. Definitely. Like just like
Yeah.
it was just really interesting to see how separate you were as artists, but able to be like, oh, but we're together in like because even like Odd Future, they splintered after a while just because like people grow up and everyone moves on, but like
Right.
like y'all two were the ones that felt like everyone was so different, but they fed back into the whole somehow, and not in like a traditional way. I really wish I could describe what I'm trying to say better, but it's just like
I get it. I
refreshing to
think
me.
anybody that was following us, they get it. They understand. They kind of got the dynamic of too. The early dynamic.
It's right. Yeah. No, it was like that was such a strange time. It's just even weird to be at a point where we're a decade in and like looking back on it. Like it's just
right.
weird as fuck. But like like we've been talking about versatility, and like you as a solo artist, like you're just like you're so unpredictable and just like all over the place in the best possible ways. Like I just never like I never know what I'm gonna get from a Father project ever. Like sometimes you're gonna be like straight ahead rapping, sometimes you're gonna be singing, sometimes you're gonna be doing both at the same time. Like sometimes you're gonna drop a project with Adult Swim, sometimes you're gonna make something that's like a mesh of shit. Like I'm a piece of shit, like just like like I remember the first time I heard I'm a piece of shit and just thinking like I felt so like I felt like every different part of my brain was being worked listening to I'm a piece of shit. Like just cause like it's so much going on and so many different types of shit like on one project, like at a time when that wasn't the norm, cause like doing that the way you did, that wasn't the norm at the time. And I'm kind of rambling right now, but I guess just like I'm just kind of curious, like walk me through how you approach making like anything. Like how does like like whether you're like directing a music video, making a project, helping somebody else with theirs, like where does your process start?
I guess all right. So I guess initially it starts with what being made in the because it has to exist. It has to exist in the world. It's not in a vacuum. So like, what is happening right now? Does everything sound like right now? How can it not sound like that while also piggybacking enough off current sound and trend to where it's not too left? It's like going left, but not going so far out of it to where people are like, this is disgusting. So that's kind of where I start initially, being like, what kind of influence can I draw from that I already know and like, and and how can it just just don't do. I'm like, as soon as like, because I'll be working on a project, or I'll be getting ideas ready for a project, drawing from my different influences that, that I've just amassed over the years. Because that's part of it too. It's like I just listened to so much music since those times we were talking about earlier. Since I was younger, listening to Midnight Club, listening to the Midnight Club soundtrack, going through my eras of rap, going into Southern rap, going into New York rap, going into electronica, going to all these places, and then so I go through this Rolodex in my brain of sounds. I'm just like, so what is the sound right now? And I just pull out of that and see how I can capture current culture while just being ready for the next thing. You know what I'm saying? And then sometimes I'm a little too on the nose, and that's what happens like when I'm planning to release something and we're like, today it's like it's gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck that. And I move on because sound will have caught up too quickly to the thing that I was working on, and then I just hate it immediately. Like I was, because past couple years I was working on, because I think some previous interviews people will hear and they'll be like, oh yeah, what happened to the you're working on a kind of like a goth kind of grungy crossover sound, and I'm just like, niggas started doing that, or at least I've been hearing it, and I immediately was like, ill. I'm glad I didn't do that. It sounds kind of cheeks. You know what I'm saying? I don't really like that anymore. So then I move on to my Rolodex of sounds and try to find something that niggas are not gonna be on next. And then I start experimenting, and then I'm in Ableton just trying shit out until something sticks, and then I'm like, there it is. And then I use that as my waypoint to then keep creating until I have what is what feels like a project, which usually comes out of nowhere for me. I always be working on a bunch of shit at the same time, and then I'm like, oh shit, that's a project. This all kind of sounds similar. This feels like an era of me, and then that's when it finally comes out.
Man, so like just like all of that, like all of that taken into consideration, like how did that apply to Awful Swim? Because like that's
Swim.
like, yeah,
that was a bit of, that was me stepping out of my normal shit a little bit in terms of how I usually produce most of my music myself. And at that time, that was like the beginning of the relationship with RCA Sony. So I was like, let me kind of take some of the load off of my shoulders for this, because like I have budget now, you know what I'm saying? Let me bring in other people to help me work on this. So I feel like that takes the most operation. So with that, I kind of just wanted to get kind of not necessarily a poppier sound. I'm not even sure if that project sounds poppier rap or not. I haven't gone back and really listened to it in a minute, but that was coming right off of Heartthrob. So I know I was trying to lean into that direction. I feel like that one project is where I kind of like, let's keep it contemporary, let me not try to be too ahead of the sound or too behind the sound, and try to go with what could work right this very second.
Right. Yeah. Nah. Cause I, like that was around the time I had first started hearing a lot of Melty Cannon beats, and like Melty Cannon's all over that project. And I think, I'd go so far as to say that he's like one of like the chief architects of like why adults, of why Awful Swim sounds the way it sounds. And like, it's just like y'all sounded really great together, like in that context. And it didn't really like it sounded like, I don't really know that I'd call it like poppy either, but it's definitely more towards the center than some of your stuff was. But I actually did re-listen to it not too long ago. I still really enjoy that project. Like, it's fun, it's bouncy, it's like it still sounds unique. It's like I almost feel like that shit. Maybe this is a reach, but I just thought about it. Like, I see a lot of like elements that I'm seeing now in like plug music at that time, and like plug wasn't as huge then as it is now. And like it's like real subtle. Like, there's nothing on there that I would explicitly call
actually
plug.
there was a lot of like, I think the bounce, like a lot of the bounce was very plug. Even though like you
Yeah.
would never think back listening to that project and be like, this is a plug album. Like it's
Right.
because
Exactly.
yeah, because like even in my brain, my head is like it's not. But you're right. The bounce of it was very plug. I think that was a lot of melody kind of influence. A lot of like it was a lot of like SoundCloud as well. I feel like that's a very quintessential like SoundCloud kind of project of mine. Probably.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
no, I agree. Like, no, especially because like Plug's identity is kind of starting to form around then. Like Mexico Dro was already a pretty
Right.
big name at that time, and like he came from SoundCloud, and
Yeah.
like a lot of like it's just wild to think about like the amount just the amount of different kinds of rap music that came from SoundCloud, and just like what that inspired is just from like Plug to Raider Clan to y'all, like and just there's so many different things. But yeah, like I think like there's just something about like a father project that like I'm tapping into it, and it's just like I just never know what I'm gonna get. Like to this day, I never know what I'm gonna get. And like you look at
yeah, man. I get bored. That's what I think. That's the main thing that happens. I'll come up with one thing. I'm just like, hell yeah, I'm gonna run with this for the next couple projects. I'm just gonna do this style, and then immediately
right.
I sit back down. And I'm just like, fuck that. I'm tired of doing that. Like, because like you listen to Young Hot, like it was very much me. Like I want to rap, and then after I finished that, I was like, I'm tired of rapping. I want to kind of go back to melodic shit again a little bit more, while incorporating my ability to rap. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. I'm trying. I guess I'm trying to reach like a convergent. I don't know. Where it all like all the things I've done kind of converge in the middle, and I just form this, this opus, this I don't know, final identity kind of thing, where it's just it all now exists as once, and I can go in between all the styles at the same time.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm actually happy you brought that up, because I literally had a thing written down where it's like, you look at Young Hot Ebony 2 and Husband 2, and it's like those, like, they're like such, like, like they're like so close to being polar opposites, just like in terms of tone and style and like technique, like it's like I was gonna ask, like, if do you ever get tonal whiplash from doing that? But I mean, like you already kind of said that like you kind of get bored and move on. But like, has there ever been a time where you've got, like, especially with these two projects, like, did it feel weird for you to just like go and completely switch it up again for
No,
Husband
it felt
2?
natural. It was completely natural. It was like it just where it's where my brain took me to next. Like I don't know. Once I closed the book on one thing and started moving on to the next, I don't know. I guess it really sometimes it doesn't. There is some crossover time period, because if you just look at Ableton files, you'll see like between the songs that exist now for that project and the songs for the last project, there is like a middle ground of like it fading of the last sound fading into the new sound, and that's a lot of random experimentation going on in between there. And it's just a lot of music that you never hear. That's just on my computer. That probably sometimes I leak. Like some of the songs will come out. Like there's a few of them. Like I just released one the other day called Toddlers, and that was a song I came up with in between the two projects. And I don't know if I can tell, but it's kind of like the rap styles of the last one, and then like me kind of leaning into a different kind of style for the current one. But a lot of experimentation goes on in the middle that I guess eventually leads me to the next thing, because it usually comes from
right. That's so cool. Like I like that's because you're talking about it being natural, and like that's not easy to do, like it's not easy to be the kind of artist who, like, you never know what you're gonna get next from them, or like you don't even know what you're gonna get next from yourself. Like you don't know if you're gonna you don't know if you're gonna get bored, you don't know if you're gonna move on. And like you said earlier, like you're at like it's at a point where it's like you don't know if people are gonna be fully invested in it. And like that's like a unique kind of challenge where like you're like to an extent you're constantly challenging your audience, like you're challenging their expectations and asking them to expect the unexpected from you. And that can be kind of scary, like, or at least I imagine that's kind of scary.
You lose people along the way. That's real. Like, you know what I'm saying? I've had plenty of, I think I like, when I did Young Hot 2, I was like, man, they're gonna love this. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is kind of classic me. And then, but there was a couple of people, a small handful of people that was like, I hate this direction. And it's like, really? And I was like, really? I'm on the flight. You hear these beats? You hear this rapping? Do you hear these lyrics? Like, you're out of your fucking mind. You know what I'm saying? But you lose people along the way when you kind of bounce left, right. You know what I'm saying? You don't keep that singular sound that they're used to. But at the same time, you lose people not changing. So,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got to do what you got to do, and like, as long as you're happy at the end of the day, that's the
fuck up.
Yeah. Fuck we love them, but yeah, fuck them.
Don't listen to that song you like on repeat, because I'm probably not gonna make the same thing ever again. Like, you know what I'm saying? I move on a lot.
Yeah, like that can be, like that idea of just like moving on and not really being in one place like that forever. Like that can be kind of lonely, because like it's not very many people are like that, and the people who are like so over in their own pocket that it's just like, like you've done, like you've obviously dropped a lot of music. You've helped bring a lot of other music to life, and you've worked on so many different projects and have built something that's kind of always shifting and always finding a new ground to stand on, which is like really admirable, especially now, especially because like I said before, that really wasn't a thing that everyone was doing at the time you started it. And now I kind of feel like that's almost the norm, more often than not, like now there are more artists who ask their audiences to expect the unexpected, especially rappers. And like it's just like a
teaser down.
Right. Yeah. No, like Tizo Touchdown's a perfect example. Like he's, like you never know what you're gonna get from Tizo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah. I saw Tizo open for Tyler on his tour last year, and just like the set it looked like something out of like Weird Al Yankovic's UHF, and just like all the different kinds of songs he did, and like the way he looks. I got to meet him after, and like like he's one of a kind, and in like a way that I think is, like kind of emblematic of the stuff that y'all did with Awful. Like he feels very much like a descendant of Awful Records to me. Like in that way.
When I first seen the the videos in front of the garage and all that shit, I was like, this look like, I was like, it reminded me of us, and I was like, I naturally kind of, so some people might find that shit like, oh, what the fuck is he doing? Like, I was immediately like intrigued. I'm like, that's what I was, that's what I always wanted for the click, that kind of, this is exactly what I look for in music and people in general.
Right. Yeah. No. And it didn't feel like derivative. It just felt like it just had that energy to it, which is like a really hard thing to do, And like, since we're at the point now where, I mean, like Awful was founded in 2011, so it's 12 years old. Look at Risk came out in 2014, so that's coming up on a decade at this point. Like you've been here a while. So like, like looking back on the last like 10 plus years, like in that spirit, like what do you think is your most important contribution to rap culture? Because I feel like you've contributed a lot, but what would you say your most important contribution's been, like looking back on it?
Shit, man. I don't know. I don't think it's even for me to say. I don't really know. I'm not sure. Like, I feel like, it's on, listeners and other people to say. I can't really say myself. I don't know. I might think one thing. I don't think anything. You know what I'm saying? I don't think anything in particular. I don't think of myself like so highly to where I'm just like, I am the one sole responsible for the reason why you niggas do this.
Right.
I don't really. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's a group. It's kind of like a group effort of my era. Of anybody that came through during that time period. I don't know. Yeah, somebody would have to tell me, because I have virtually, I know what I was doing during that time period, and like the fucking, thing. All right, one thing that I won't say I did it, but people, regular consumers and shit, they attribute the sudden drop. You remember that shit everybody was doing, like album out tonight? Like
Yeah.
they attribute that shit to like Beyonce.
Right.
And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like that happened because of SoundCloud. That happened because of our era, and underground artists did that because nobody was expecting anything from us ever. So it was just like, drop it. Anytime they be like, hey, I finished the project, should I promo it? No, drop it. Like, we don't have time to waste. Like, drop that shit right now.
Right. It was out of necessity. Exactly. Yeah.
Like, and plus, it was like my thing about it. I didn't get it from other artists. I got it from Netflix. You know, I'd be like, oh man, on demand, nigga. As soon as it's like, I don't even know about it 10 weeks ahead of time. That bitch was just there. I'd be like scrolling. I was like, oh, where the fuck that come from? I was just there. I was like, that ingrained into my head to just put it there immediately. So if you have it, as soon as it's done, put it there. Let them enjoy it immediately with all the extra shit. But people attribute that shit to all of the major, mainstream artists that were doing that. And I'm just like, they didn't create that. It was just some shit they started doing because all the indie niggas was doing it. They weren't being held back by a label telling them to wait 6 weeks to promo some shit. They were like, no, put it out immediately. So yeah, that's the only thing I'll say is derivative of me era music. That they attribute that shit to other people. I was like, that's fucking crazy. Like,
I get that. Yeah, because I'm like, depending on who you ask, like there were older artists who like did that sort of thing, but we have to understand that like so many of the major artists are looking to people like y'all. Like y'all set the pace. You know, like especially back then. You know, like I guarantee you, Beyonce and her people were looking at SoundCloud, and it wouldn't surprise me if she got that idea from, you know, like it's like it's,
the way they were shooting videos, like people just throw the camera on. I'm gonna run to the hotel. That was Oco. Like, come on, fam. We saw all that. Like we all saw this in real time. Just because like people were indie artists, they think like we saw this shit happen in real time. It's like niggas just grabbing a camera and that's the music video wherever you at. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
One-shot scenes running through a place. Like that was the smaller, that was sound out, that was out of, one again, like I was saying, you said like it's out of necessity. That's what we were doing because we were trying to get that shit out there and get it out there quick. And then major artists was like, we have $1 million budgets, but we're gonna shoot our shit like it's some bullshit. So people will be like, it's not,
Right.
Yeah. Then the fans attribute it to Taylor Swift or whoever is huge. So there's like, that's the first time they've seen it.
Right. Yeah. You know, it's all about context and it's all about history, you know, and like, if you know, if you don't, you don't. It's whatever. But like, yeah, it's like it's important to at least acknowledge like, hey, like even like there was something in the air and we put it there, like regardless, like that's just, facts are facts, Man, last question for you, Father. If your life was a movie, what would it be about?
What would it be about? I guess how it would be. Like, sure. I wanted to be like a classic blaxploitation film. Kind of very very Black Dynamite. Like like. Just going around and slapping the fuck out of people, beating niggas' asses and shit like that. It's something dramatic like that, I think. Yeah.
That's fun. Man after my own heart, Black. Yeah, like I think about it sometimes. I think Black Dynamite might just be my favorite movie of all time. Like I think I've been like,
for sure. Like nigga, I've seen it so many times. It's
so many times. Jesus,
it's top three, at least. It's the first one I think to rattle off. I think that it might make it number one. I'm gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna say top. It's for sure top three, if not for me. I'm like that. I don't know. I should have said that one earlier, actually, over Dogma or whichever one I picked. But that's top tier filmmaking right there for me. I could watch that shit 1,000 times over.
Like, right. Yeah. No, I could throw that on at any time and know exactly what the line is and just jump right in. Like the last 10 minutes don't hold up as great as the rest of the movie does. Like as soon as Nick,
it doesn't.
as soon as Nixon shows up, it's not as it's still good, but
Yeah.
it's not as good. But
I mean, I guess
the second,
it kind of calls back. It calls back to how those movies were back in the day, where it just fell
right,
apart. It would fall apart in the last 10 minutes. Like what? But
right,
you know, still strong. It's a strong film. Terrible ending,
yeah,
but it's yeah. But
incredible. It's so funny, man. That
I threw that shit before I came in a room. Like,
I just like that was like when I saw that was the funniest thing I'd seen in my life at that point. Like, and you're like, that was once again, that was a movie I was watching with the homies. I watched that with like 5 other people, and like that amplified the experience. Like it's just like it's a party movie, you know, like but it's also a movie you could watch by yourself, and it's just funny by itself. You know, at least for me it is. But like, like what
I just I would want to exist in that realm.
God, like we need the we need the father blaxploitation Western movie. We got it. That's I need that. I
might be a little older when it finally happens, but I'm definitely that's always been somewhere I've wanted to go into. Like I would love to be in an action film, like an indie action film, like not too over the top. Like it's just some guys at a house in a neighborhood, and it just turns into the most over the top action film, but it's like just regular niggas. So it's just like I don't know. I've been wanting to make movies like that, where it's just like the extraness of say like murder mystery, but it's just some niggas in the house. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh damn, who killed the homie? And it's just like nobody can leave the trap. You're like, who killed Todrick? Who was y'all did it? It's like you know what I'm saying? Like some small, just I don't know. I want to do shit like that, like the small indie murder mystery, indie action film, so I can just do some explosions and jump out of some shit and flip over and get my ass beat. Like that's
hard. I love that.
I might be 40 by the time it happens, but I would love to try and make it happen.
Fuck it, man. I mean, like Liam Neeson and Jason Statham are still making action movies. If they could do it, so could you. Fuck it.
Yeah. Fuck the bad knee and the
fucking
back. Kill it.
fucking Denzel's about to make his third expendable or his third Equalizer movie. You'll be fine.
You look like
you'll
Dust.
Be fine.
He's looking like Dust right now. Like it's crazy, but he's killing it, man.
Right. Damn. Holy shit, Father. Thank you so much, man. This was so illuminating and so much fun, and just like just like I've been charting the path for a long time, like really since Look at Wrist, and like like the evolution's been dope, and the work's been great, and I just appreciate what you and Awful and like the whole crew stands for. So just like thanks for your time. It means a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, like it's really my pleasure. Let me stop her. Thanks for listening. Shout out to y'all for making it this far. And shout out to all the black people listening too, because y'all really impeccable. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell a friend to come through next time. 1.